Hi everyone, my name is Rick Graham with White Light Media, and I wanted to start a new series here on the internet to help you become a sci-fi author. Now, depending on the source that you go with, I mean, there's statistics out there from like 80-something% to 90% of Americans out there actually want to one day write a book. Now, that could be nonfiction or it could be fiction. I myself am a self-published science fiction author, and one of the things I run into when talking to other people about sci-fi and everything, and you know, I've been doing some research to try to poll and see if there was enough interest out there for me to help other people to be able to do the same thing that I'm doing now. And it seems that there was actually a really big response from users online that actually wanted to learn how to be able to write. And so we're going to completely focus this story onto fiction, and more specifically science fiction. To me, a nonfiction book is pretty easy depending on the research. If you wanted to do fiction that's like historical, then you have to do more research. So it's more of stuff that's very creative. I'm focusing more on helping you to become science fiction, but it could also be fantasy. It's kind of up to you with that, but it's mainly going to be focused on sci-fi. Kind of like the backdrop. I think that's nice. Anyway, so let's assume you're watching this, you want to become an author, but you have no idea where to start. So what I'm going to be doing for the next 30 days, I'm going to be releasing a new video every day to help you start this journey and hopefully give you everything that you need to get to the end and be able to actually publish something on the internet as a finished work. And then you can actually say that you are a published author. And I think that is an amazing accomplishment, especially when you consider, again, the massive amount of Americans out there who want to become an author, but for whatever reason, they don't know how. They think it's going to be too much work. They don't know what to do, how to market it, how to do with social media, everything. There's a huge thing, a big list of content that we're going to get into. But for right now, I want to help you decide on the size of the work that you want to move forward with. Now, again, depending on whoever your source is, if you were to write a short story, those are typically between 1,500 to 30,000 words. If you wanted to do a novella, which is larger than a short story but shorter than a novel, that is going to be, well, again, 30,000-ish to about 50,000, maybe 60,000 words. All right? And then if you wanted to go to a full-blown novel, that is going to be 55,000 and up. I mean, you can go really crazy and go really, really high. And, a novel typically sold in the U.S., as far as what you're going to find in bookstores like Barnes & Noble, or even what you're going to order off of Amazon, are going to be about 300 pages. It's usually around like 280-something to around 310 is usually where you're going to find most novels. I personally, to help you get through this journey and for you to finally be able to say, I am a published author, I think you should start with a short story. Now, I'm going to assume that you probably have an idea for some sort of story, or maybe even some sort of unique or developed or creative sci-fi universe, right? And if you don't have it completely figured out yet, that's completely fine. We're going to go through this process together. But I'm going to assume you at least have the desire to. And you probably have the general idea of what sort of universe you want to work with, whether it's playing off of Earth or something brand new, completely creative that doesn't exist anywhere, like Star Wars, where Star Trek had to do with the advancement of Earth. Star Wars is completely in a whole other situation. It's completely creative, right? So whether or not you're in one of those two camps doesn't matter. I am going to recommend that you genuinely consider writing a short story first. The reason being is you are still going to have to go through the entire creative process of, from the brand new idea, creating the outline, developing the characters, telling the story, editing the story, promoting the stories, publishing. You're going to literally go through the entire process, except it's probably not going to take you a long, long, long time to write. And that's one of the things, when we're first starting something out, and we're brand new at learning a new skill, we don't want something that's going to overwhelm us and crush us. You know, like when we go to school, even when we're learning new subjects, we learn it in chapters, or we learn it in books, or we learn it in a course, and then that course, that class is done, then we progress to the next phase of it. If we were to literally, you know, take an 8-year-old and say, okay, you're going to learn the very basics of math, and then you're going to go all the way to calculus in like a year, it would overwhelm everybody. So, but we do that when we're becoming an author, we do the exact same thing. We're like, man, I got this really awesome idea. I have no idea where to start, and I'm never going to write it now because I don't know what to do. So I'm going to strongly recommend, this is what I did first when I first started getting into sci-fi writing, is you write a short story. Like I said, you go through the entire same process. You get to experiment. And you know what? At the end of the day, you finally get to actually say you're a published author because you did publish something. So this is like a baby steps kind of program thing to get you from pretty much around zero. I mean, some of us are going to have a lot higher skill in writing. Others are going to be, you know, extremely creative, or already have spent years really kind of developing a universe, but didn't really put words to a page to make it into a full book. So even still, and as far as the short story, you know, take your idea. When you're writing a short story, because, you know, I'm developing my own sci-fi universe called Revelations. It's really vast, has a lot of room for growth, has a lot of stories that can be told, right? I mean, you think about Star Wars. Star Wars had, you know, the first 3 movies, then they added 3 more, and now they're adding another trilogy. Now they're doing side movies. But if you think about it, there's all those comics, there are all those books and video games. There's all kinds of material that lengthened Star Wars and grew it way beyond just the movies. So odds are, if you have an idea for a sci-fi story, even if you haven't thought of all the ideas yet of potential stories that you could tell, there's going to be a lot, right? So we're going to be going through this process together. Stick with it, all right? We got 30 days. We're going to go through this piecemeal. Follow us here on Facebook or here on YouTube. Our Facebook account is Learn to Write Sci-Fi. And for YouTube, it is White Light Media. All right? I'm very excited about this. I hope you guys getting on board with the idea of doing the short story. It's going to be work. It is going to be tough at times. You're going to have to struggle creatively and push yourself through the times when you wanted to write and then you stopped writing, and then you have to, you know, there's the whole thing you're going to learn. And we're going to be going over character creation, outlining, storytelling. We're going to do a little bit of marketing. We're going to do a little bit of teaching you how to do self-publishing, how to get a cover created. There's a lot of stuff. So if you are completely brand new, all you have is an idea up here, this is the perfect place for you to be, to at least get your feet wet. And hopefully in the next maybe 60 days, if you stick with it, you might actually be able to say that you're a published author. All right? Looking forward to it. Stick around. Let other people know that you know who are interested in writing that we're doing this, and looking forward to everything else. All right, guys. See you guys around.